Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I'm your host Faisal Raza and you are watching Foresight. Viewers, Pakistan and China's ironclad friendship is getting more and more strengthened with the passage of time. And both Beijing and Islamabad are committed to take it forward in every sphere, especially in the field of economics, trade, investments, science and technology, agriculture, and lot more. In this connection, 5th Pak-China Foreign Ministers Strategic Dialogue held in Beijing on May 15th, 2024. Both sides given lots of key messages of regional and international peace, development and prosperity. Both sides reaffirmed their mutual commitment with each other. China announced to have an upgraded version of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, and also to accelerate the second phase, which is larger in size and investments than the first phase. Both sides shown great confidence to swiftly develop the special economic zones while effectively implement the framework agreement on industrial cooperation. To discuss this very important segment of Pakistan and China's friendship, we have in our studios Dr. Hassan Daud. He is the former Chief Executive Officer of the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Board of Investment. Most welcome to you, Dr. Thank you very much for your arrival. And also, Mr. Zamir Asadi is a senior journalist and has a close eye on Pak-China economic cooperation, especially the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, the flagship project of Belt and Road Initiative. Most welcome to you, Zamir. Thank you very much for your presence. And online joining us, Mr. Shen Shiwei. He is the China Global Television Network reporter and also the Belt and Road Initiative cooperation expert. Most welcome to you, Shen. Thank you very much for joining us online. Thank you, so nice of you. My first question is to you, Shen, that Pakistan and China both committed to work together for economic growth and on security matters within and across the region. So how do you see the 5th bilateral strategic dialogue just held in Beijing? How do you see that dialogue and what is the significance of it?
Well, thank you for having me here in this wonderful discussion. So in Beijing, the two foreign ministers have reviewed and to have a summary of the first phase of the CPEC, and then we have a blueprint for the upgraded CPEC, which means to focus more on industrialization, which is very essential for Pakistan and China economic cooperation. And also there are several key issues. One is about to upgrade several key infrastructures like the railways, like the highways, and also to better facilitate the cross-border trade. And the second one is about the industrial zone, as you mentioned, because industrialization is very essential for every country's economy, especially in Pakistan. And so that's why to further upgrade this kind of cooperation in the economic zone, it is very important. And the third is about the regional and international issues. As we know, in the discussions, both foreign ministers have agreed to further protect the projects along the CPEC and also to have more cooperations with the regional partners, including Afghanistan, because Pakistan is playing a very important role in the stabilizing the regional affairs. So these three issues are quite essential for the profound and healthy development of the CPEC and the China-Pakistan economic cooperation in the coming days.
When we are talking about Afghanistan particularly, it is important that both China and Pakistan have a trilateral mechanism. Along with that, both committed to develop Afghanistan as well. So in that context, there was an extension of the CPEC to Afghanistan, also the security matter. So how do you see that important segment between the discussion between the two foreign ministers of Pakistan and China?
Yes, as we know, in Chinese philosophy, the development must rely on profound and stable environment. Without peace, you cannot have a well-developed economy and also for the social affairs. And that's why for the regional issues, China and both Chinese and Pakistani foreign ministers have agreed for this kind of potential extension of the BRI and also the CPEC to Afghanistan, because that will bring the benefits for the local people, for the well-being of the people, as long as the local economy has improved and also the local economy has developed, and also the people are getting well developed, especially for the employment, education, housing, food, healthcare, and all these basic needs are met because of the economic development. Then the regional security issue will be much more improved, and especially now facing this kind of threats, security threats. Then only by development, economic development, and also social development, then we can eradicate the root for this kind of radicalization or extremism or any other security threats. So that is a key point reached between the two foreign ministers, and that will play a very important role in the regional development, including the CPEC.
Point well taken. Your point well taken. Dr. Hassan, when China says it's agree on the development or developing the CPAC of the upgraded version of it. So when we are talking about that, so what it means, what it really means, really?
Yep. First of all, thank you for having me. It's also important, and it's a sequel to the question that you asked from Mr. Shen. I think it's important that we also realize that how China is taking the development of CPEC, and Mr. Wang Yi is one of the most pragmatic foreign ministers that I've seen. Also on our part, Mr. Sagdar is
no doubt he's very energetic.
He's deputy prime minister. Yeah. So two strong people, two strong foreign ministers meeting, and I think they can give direction to not just the diplomacy aspect of it, but also the development aspect, because Mr. Sagdar has been the finance minister also. So based on that, I think what China is looking at is as a global leader, and looking at green transitioning, and also the Paris Accord and the promises around COP28. I think what China is looking at is a green BRI, and through that green BRI, they have actually decided that they will not invest overseas on coal-based projects. They will look at green projects, especially energy transition that we are looking at, also the renewable energy, the transmission lines, the agriculture sector, and also green industrialization. So for Pakistan also this is very important. The second phase, we have done the infrastructure part, we have built roads, we have had energy now around 6,000 megawatt and more, I think around 7,000, and about 800 kilometers of transmission line. We have around 580 kilometers of motorways. So all this, I think, is now supporting and setting up a stage where we can go towards our industrialization. So on the industrialization part, I think China would bring in technologies which are green, which are environmentally friendly, and where the business collaboration can happen easily. Because if you bring in technology where the sources are not available in Pakistan, then it would become a challenge, not just for installing that factory or unit in our special economic zone, but also getting the right kind of partners.
Obviously, you are absolutely right. Zamir, some of the Western powers inflicted lots of politics and even terrorism because of the China containment policy of the West to advance a CPAC related project or to have an upgraded version. How to move further without facing any hindrance?
Thank you very much, Mr. Faisal. And first of all, we would have to see that you are talking about the containment policy that will always be there. You know, if you talk about the relationship between, China and US, and if we witness the rise of China, especially in the last 30 or 40 years, in terms of economy, in terms of politics, or in terms of military, the rise of China has really, stunned the international community, and this was just a peaceful rise, and the development of China, the credit goes to the political system and the Communist Party of China. And I think this rise of China have not only gained the attention of the international community peacefully, but also gained the attention of those particular groups from the international community that are astonished and are feeling threatened with the rise of China, and are feeling that some kind of this rise of China will be a threat towards the hegemony, towards the global, towards their global upset of the Americans or the Western leadership. But I think the Americans and now they understand that the involvement and the role that China is playing as far as the economy is concerned, it's very vital and it's very necessary, because Americans and the Western, they do not have that much capacity as far as the infrastructural development of the developing countries are concerned, because you know that
that is not the priority even when we are talking about infrastructure.
Yeah, definitely. And if you look at the development scale of the Belt and Road Initiative, and you look at the scale of the investment that have been done in the last 10 years, you will be surprised that how China has managed such a large scale infrastructural projects in all of these developing countries, and those developing countries have really benefited from these development
You're
projects.
Right, I think so that China has the core theme, let's grow together.
Yes,
that's why China is eager to develop each and every developing country along with its own development. So Dr. Hassan, when we are talking about the Pak-China Framework Agreement on industrial cooperation, how it is going to be ensured, because it has all the ingredient available which actually Pakistan needs?
I think in terms of policy articulation, it's a very good document. It sets the stage for next 10 years, where you can bring in industry which can be useful, which can actually help us getting out of all the economic challenges that are there. We need export-led industries. We need labor-intensive industries which can actually employ a lot of youngsters who enter job market each year. So for that to happen, I think this framework agreement can actually help us in a more transactionary manner, in a more incremental manner, to look at phase by phase how we can develop. So I think they have prioritized certain SEZs, starting from KP, Dhabeji in Sindh, and of course in Punjab, Faisalabad. So when you work on these and they become center of excellence, I think for us to implement our own industrialization policy, which is still not there, maybe even a commerce and trade strategy would be easier. You need to understand, for Pakistan, we are at a very, very critical juncture, and we keep hearing about these economic challenges. And here we have a friend in the form of China, who's our neighbor also, which is ready to shift and bring its industry to Pakistan. All we have to do is, besides the framework that you spoke about, I think within our own institutional frameworking mechanism, we need to improve our ease of doing business.
So you are talking about we need to improve. So how do you see the Prime Minister's initiative to constitute a special cabinet committee on China's investment projects in March this year? So would it be able to streamline and facilitate Chinese investments in Pakistan?
Yes, of course, because you need a whole of government approach. You need a top-down approach where the Prime Minister is telling everyone, including the investors, including the Chinese who are already working in Pakistan, that there is a government which is ready to work for you and also support the challenges, even the security challenges. So when this committee comes in, they look at the ease of doing business aspect of it. They look at some of the challenges that Chinese have in terms of the incentives that we offer, because you promise certain incentives and sometimes they become a challenge. And also in the energy sector, there are huge challenges in which the government has to work, support from the highest level, and for that to happen, this engagement is also important. But beyond that, I also think the visit of the Prime Minister and of course the frequent visit of our industrial leadership, our political leadership, our academic leadership has to happen and continue to happen. Only then we can actually help Chinese also realize the challenge we have and the support that we need from China.
So what about the bilateral science and technology, digital IT cooperation, skill development, establishment of the joint research centers, as these are the backbones of today's economic world, and Pakistan need it badly, really?
I teach in a university, and
Obviously,
in university we look at such initiatives from the government, because we have to embrace industrialization. We have to look at industrialization 4.0 and also industrialization 5.0, which will come, I think, very soon, sooner than what we are expecting. And I think it is knocking at our door it is banging at our door. So, for us to actually work on certain initiatives, we need a country, a friend which has technology, they understand technology. Look at the kind of development they have done in EVs and the exports that they are doing to Europe through that.
It has actually stunned West
actually, and
EVs,
also
really.
I think certain restrictions have been imposed by US
Obviously,
on these.
obviously.
But I think they have the technology, they have the commitment to support Pakistan. Pakistan need is there. We have large size population, which is our endowment. We have a very good geographical location. All we need is technology, AI, robotics, blockchain, which can connect our e-commerce with the supply chain of China and rest of the world.
Obviously, you are absolutely right. Zamir, under CPAC's second phase, information technology, agriculture, mining, mineral development, energy and other areas are primarily focused. So, how much it's significant for Pakistan and what's the significance of the Special Investment Facilitation Council in this regard?
Definitely, you know, based on the remarkable achievements of the phase 1, now Pakistan is entering into the phase 2, and luckily we have the same government that has launched the CPAC back in 2013, and they know the potential of the China-Pakistan economic corridor, and they know that what kind of more benefits and what kind of the goals we can set, what kind of more achievements we can, you know, grab from the phase 2. So these are kind of things that have been, you know, announced by the government right now, and it can be aligned with the same commitments and the announcement from the Chinese government that have been recently announced under the leadership of the Chinese President Xi Jinping in their recently conducted China's 2 sessions, where the Chinese President Xi Jinping have announced the new quality productive forces in its government work report, and where they have announced that the Chinese economy in the next coming years will be driven by the new quality productive forces, where the old models of the economy and the economic engines are going to be removed by the new driving engines of China. So I think these components that you have mentioned in your questions are very important. If Pakistan right now is willing to achieve the sustainable development and the inclusive growth in its economy for the coming years, then definitely we will have to shift our economy towards the digitalization, and we'll have to align our motives or our agendas towards the new quality productive forces of China that have been announced in their work report as well.
Definitely, you are absolutely right, because the green and high-tech industry is very important to grow, really. Shen, when we are talking about the Pakistan-China friendship, some of the vested interest segments or the enemy is very active through its proxies, and early you were talking about security and peace is inevitable for economic growth. So whether Beijing is satisfied with the comprehensive security measures and mechanisms taken by envisaged by Pakistan to safeguard the precious lives of the Chinese citizens working on the CPAC and non-CPAC projects, as it was reiterated by the Chinese foreign minister and assured by the Pakistan's foreign minister.
Yes, actually, for the development of the CPAC, security is always one of the top priorities, as the two sides have agreed that both Chinese and Pakistani workers and staffs working on CPAC and all non-CPAC projects are very valuable. And that's why we have established a lot of mechanisms to protect those people on the projects. And because those projects will bring the benefits to the locals and to improve the local lives, as our guests have mentioned, for example, the energy sector that will bring lights in the dark evening, and that will give more incentives to the business sectors. And for the water projects, that will severely to lift people from this kind of drought, and that is very good for the agriculture. So all those projects are turning the resources into the engines of the economic growth. So in the coming days, China and Pakistan will have more mutual understanding, especially for the communication at different levels for the security cooperation. And for this security, cooperation that will ensure the smooth implementation of the projects, and those projects will bring benefits to the locals and to have a very good development for the locals, and that will help to improve the local security situation. So that will make all this development into a positive circle. So that is enshrined in the Chinese development philosophy and also the global development initiative proposed by China and also echoes and agreed by Pakistan side. So that is from this security and development, this kind of philosophy. So that is quite essential for the phase one of CPEC.
Your point well taken, Shen. But Dr. Hassan, how do you see the Gawada port and realignment of the Karakoram Highway Phase 2 project as it was agreed upon during this strategic dialogue? Because these are the vital arteries for Pakistan, China-Pakistan economic corridor and the backbone for economic growth in the region, particularly Pakistan. So how do you see that?
I think in this time and age, the most important aspect for a country is, especially a country like Pakistan, which is looking at export, which has economic challenges. We're looking at out-of-box solutions for improving its economy. I think our connectivity has to be better and has to be from north to south or south to north, connected with all our regional economic partners. We have China, we have Afghanistan, we have Iran, and I think there's a huge potential. Already with a lot of poor infrastructure, we're still exporting a lot of stuff to China. Our export to China has grown by 35%. Our export this year to Afghanistan has been very good actually. So what we need is, I think also in terms of blue economy, because you've been talking about blue economy in your debates also. And I think for us to have a better economic, macroeconomic impact of whatever we are doing and also the regional connectivity. I think Gawada port is important for us. But likewise, what is important for us is the year-long opening up of KKH. We have it in pockets because of landsliding and also poor weather conditions. Most of the time it's closed. So what we are doing is looking at its opening throughout the year. We are also looking at technology through VBOC, that our border posts with China and our ports in Gawada are connected. We have seamless connectivity of policy, because you can't have efficient system in China and as soon as they enter in Pakistan, the system and the clearance process is cumbersome. So you can't have that, and even the transportation cannot be weaker than what you have in China.
And Hassan sir, when we are talking about very brief, because you have to leave for a meeting. So how do you see the planning ministry's proposal to develop 1+4 model of to develop the special economic zones in Pakistan by having one Pakistani SEZ partnered with one Chinese province and industry, special economic zone and state-owned enterprise?
You know, Chinese in 2016, when we went with our industrial cooperation, spoke about this. Minister Hassan also spoke about this and has been continuously speaking about it. I, on my own academic discussion, have been stating this because for us, we need handholding of Chinese special economic zone. Obviously. Not just in terms of bringing in industry, but also for understanding what a sustainable ease of doing business or a one window is. Because we keep speaking about one window, we keep speaking about ease of doing business, but sometimes we do not really understand the best case scenario where an applicant or an investor can come and have a one plug solution. We've been talking about this for almost 10 years and a decade now. And I think this proposal of 1+4, also the proposal of the ease of doing business with the Board of Investment and SIFC that you spoke about is doing. I think together under the leadership of the Prime Minister and the committee that we've set in for investment, I think this is the right way. But what we need is more action than perhaps speeches and words.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dr. Hassan Daud. Thank you very much for your presence here in the studios. Shen, when we are talking about the second phase of the CPEC and its majority of the projects are all about industrial development, whether Chinese state-owned enterprises and the private sector investments, transfer of technology, developing the special economic zones and industrial clusters is coming anytime soon to Pakistan?
Well, I think for the industrialization, now there are many Chinese companies for this manufacturing. They are already in the industrial zone. So in the coming days, because for the phase one of the CPEC, the energy infrastructure, and also for the other connectivities have been done. So that paved a very sound, solid foundation for this industrialization. That because we have more stable electricity, energy, and also water supply, and also for the logistics. So from my observations, there will be more increasing Chinese investments from both the state-owned enterprises and also from the private enterprises. For example, in recent years, in northwestern part of China, which is the Xinjiang Uyghurs Autonomous Region, so there are a lot of companies, especially for the food industry and also logistic industries. They have invested in the Pakistan's logistic and also for the food industry to bring the very delicious and good seafood from Guadar ports directly to the inland province of China. And those products are now getting popular because of the better connectivity of the airlines, better connectivity of the logistics, and also the better clearance system from the custom office. So from our observations, that will pave a lot of potentials for the incoming industrialization cooperation between China and Pakistan, especially from the China's western province and also in the northern part of Pakistan, because the cross-border trade is booming right now.
How much important for both countries to ease and facilitate the traveling in between China and Pakistan, particularly through Khunjrab border crossing, frequent flights in between, and simplified visa regime, because that was also a core issue discussed between the two foreign ministers.
Yes, that is really important. So as many friends have asked me, what is the essence of the Belt and Road Initiative? I always say that connectivity. So connectivity is not only about infrastructure, but also about the people-to-people exchange, people-to-people, the free travel. And as we see with the Belt and Road Initiative, and China and a lot of countries have inked the visa-free agreements, and especially in the border areas. So for example, between China and Kazakhstan last year, and for early this year, the visa-free policy have been implemented, and we can see a surge of the business and also for the tourism travel between the two sides. And that is a very, very positive news. So for China and Pakistan, we can make it a step by step. For example, we can make it first like a visa on arrival or e-visa to better facilitate cross-border travel and also to increase more flights. As far as we know now, between China and Pakistan, we have a lot of direct flights with the major cities, like, for example, from Beijing to Islamabad, from Urumqi to Lahore. And we have a lot of potentials to increase more direct flights because we have a better logistics to transport the goods from Pakistan. Now, China's market is huge. As long as we can have a lot of better logistic routes between the two sides. And now we know that from the border areas, like as you mentioned, now the both sides have agreed to make it as more like a seasonal opening to all year round open, and that will boost the cross-border trade. And with the phase one of the CPEC, which will upgrade the highway to cross the border, and that will definitely boost the cross-border trade. And as we know, in the western part of the Chinese provinces, especially like in Xinjiang, there are more railways they are building. So I hope in the coming years, the railway will extend to the border, and that will further accelerate the cross-border trade between China and Pakistan. So back to you.
Absolutely, you are absolutely right. So, Zamir, you know that agriculture is the backbone of Pakistan, and China's interest in developing agriculture zones, promotion of value-added agriculture, exports, agri-research, and transfer of technology and mechanization of agriculture. That is very important, and that is very a prime focus in Pakistan when it comes to the second phase. So, how do you see that?
As you give the credit to the the rapid development of the Chinese economy, to the industrial development in China, there is also another sector that is given the credit for the rapid development of China is their agricultural development, because
Obviously.
the agricultural development of China has been the remarkable in the last 30 or 40 years. And if you visit their agricultural lands, you will see that how the Chinese farmers, they have been trained technologically, how much they have been advanced in terms of about the, if you talk about the yield, or if you talk about the seeds or the other technologies, as far as the per yield per acre crops technologies and the growth of the crops are concerned. So I think the Pakistan and China cooperation, as far as our agricultural cooperation is concerned, under this China-Pakistan economic corridor, is also very important. And we know there are a lot of cooperations are going on where China is very keenly interested to develop the agricultural industry in Pakistan. And we know that a lot of Chinese agricultural companies, they are collaborating locally in Pakistan. And recently, just 2 or 3 weeks ago, we have traveled with one of the Chinese agricultural company and one of the Chinese Pakistani company towards Bakhar, where they have planted the crop of the canola cooking oil for the seeds of the canola cooking oil in Pakistan. So and there are more than 10,000 hectares of land was cropped. So I think the technological advancement in the Chinese agricultural technology transfer is very important for Pakistan. So it depends on Pakistan and the Pakistani agricultural industry, that how we can convince and we can attract the Chinese agricultural industry to come in Pakistan. And
right, that the research and advancement and development, scientific development in agriculture by China, Pakistan can get more and more benefit out of that, really. But what it means, I have seen that you were very proponent on the joint building growth, livelihood, innovation, green development and inclusive corridors. These are the sub-corridors under the CPAC project. So how do you see developing a joint working group and aligning it with Pakistan's 5E, that is export, E-Pakistan, environment and climate change, energy and infrastructure, equity and empowerment framework? So how do you see these sub-corridors?
And definitely, now Pakistan is moving towards the second phase of the CPAC, and now these corridors are being, introduced or including in this new phase that have been introduced by the government of Pakistan with the mutual and the meaningful consultation of China. And this is the time when there is a realization that the China has a lot of expertise and a lot of technological experiments and a lot of technological advancements are there in especially in these fields. So I think this is the need of the time, that we should have to take the benefits about these technological advancements from China. And I think in Pakistan, if you look back in the last 10 years, if you talk about the our power sector, if you talk about our infrastructural development, if you talk about our vocational training centers, if you talk about our medical sector or our educational sectors, the maximum investment that have been gained from any of the our friendly country is done by China. So if you talk about these sectors right now that have been included in the phase 2 of the CPAC, so we expect that these sectors are going to be transformed in the coming years, and definitely Pakistani nation will be the direct and the first beneficiary in these sectors. And I think I would suggest the students here in Pakistan, the youth, the Pakistani youngsters to get involved and to get enrolled in universities for these subjects. They should be very well aware of these kind of sectors, that what are the next sectors that CPAC is that are going to be included in the CPAC, and what the CPAC is going to be going to attract the new kind of opportunities in which sectors. So I think the Pakistani youth will be the first beneficiary of these kind of corridors. So I will suggest the Pakistani students and the Pakistani youth to get connect with these the updates of the CPAC and to get enrolled in these subjects, so that they can directly get the benefits of these of this coming phase of the CPAC.
Well elaborated. Shen, when we are talking about the special economic zones, how would they shape in near future the Chinese businesses to relocate, create a kind of plug and play environment, as this will accelerate the industrial growth as well as the value addition, high quality exports, trade diversification, job creation, and especially the social uplift?
Yeah, for the special economic zone, it has played a very essential role in China's reform and opening up, and especially for the economic leap forward in the past 4 decades. So that is also a very essential part of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor Cooperation, the CPEC. So as we know now, China, for this CPEC cooperation, it is beyond the China-Pakistan cooperation. Now we have a lot of investors from the Gulf countries like the Saudi Arabia, like Qatar. They are all interested in cooperation with China and Pakistan for this kind of industrialization. So this kind of special economic zone, more Chinese companies, especially for the manufacturing companies, now they are planning to do more investment there, because as you mentioned, Pakistan have inked a lot of bilateral and multilateral cooperation with like the Gulf countries to have this kind of free trade agreement. That is a very good preferential policy. But here I would also to recommend our Pakistan friends, because nowadays there are a lot of companies, there are a lot of countries, they are competing for the investment also from China and also from Chinese companies. For example, like in Southeast Asia, they are also attracting Chinese companies with preferential policy. For example, the Thailand, they are attracting Chinese EV cars with a lot of preferential policies. So it is the right time for more Pakistan senior officials and also business and also for the expo organizers to like have some roadshow trip in China to promote themselves to the Chinese manufacturers to attract more Chinese investment to the special economic zone. So that will have a lot of positive impacts in this kind of economic cooperations, and especially in the western part of Chinese provinces. Now there are a lot of newly planned airports. For example, the Kashgar, which is quite close to Pakistan. Now there are new railways to be linked to that region, and also new airports and upgraded transportation hub. So that will also pave a lot of that will also play a very essential role for China and Pakistan cooperation, especially for the industrialization and also for the logistic industries and for the connectivity. So that will help China.
You are absolutely right. Zamir, Pakistan and China look serious in building the much awaited railway mainline 1 project, north to south from Peshawar to Karachi or Karachi to Peshawar. So it is about $6.7 billion, a huge project it is. So what's the progress so far? Because the commitment was done between 2 foreign ministers during this strategic dialogue.
China-Pakistan Economic Corridor in Pakistan, and this project is such a large-scale project that it will be the first project that we have not witnessed such a large-scale project in the last 10 years in Pakistan under CPAC. And unluckily, if we see that in the last 5 years under the leadership of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, this project was not tackled or managed as per the aspirations of the Pakistani nations, or as per the aspiration of the CPAC, or as per the aspiration of the framework that was designed between Pakistan or China. But right now, luckily, Pakistan and China once again they have collaborated with a mutual and a meaningful consultation. Right now, both nations, they are back on track as far as this particular project is concerned. And the good news is that with the very the good visit of our Minister of Incharge, Mr. Planning Development, Mr. Hassan Iqbal, He has done a very successful visit to China recently, and Mr. Ishaq Dar, foreign minister, has also done a very successful visit. They both have negotiated about this project in China, and the Chinese side, they have given a very good green signal to Pakistan, and both nations have agreed that now in the coming JCC that is coming to be happened in the next 2 or 3 days between China and Pakistan, this project will be signed, and right now you have mentioned that $6.7 billion will be the cost, and I'm going to update you that just 1 day ago CDWP, they have approved it and passed on the reviewed PC1 to the ACNIC for the reconsideration, and luckily this is going to be signed during the Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif visit to China, as he will be meeting with the Chinese President Xi Jinping. Obviously, and yes, he will be meeting with the Chinese Premier Mr. Li Qiang. So luckily both nations will be witnessing the MOU, and that will be the practical.
Very briefly, we have very short time. What about the promotion of the third party cooperation on the CPAC projects? Means seeking foreign countries' investments into the CPAC projects. How do you see that?
Definitely, Pakistan and China, they are very open, very transparent about it, and both nations at the very highest level, they have spoken about it, that we invite third parties collaboration or the third parties participation into CPAC. And the third parties participation means that any of the international company or any of the international country, if they are interested to invest, or if they are going to collaborate in any form or in any capacity,
they can invest. Shen, the last question, and very brief in that because we have run short of time. China is facing trade barriers because of geopolitical reasons. So Pakistan's favorable policy framework and the preferential market access to European Union, Gulf Cooperation Council and other regions can give a lucrative advantage to the Chinese companies to have exports, but from Pakistan, if it is the industry is relocated to Pakistan. So whether we can work on mutual benefits in that aspect as well?
Yes, definitely. China and the Pakistan companies, especially for the manufacturing companies, can cooperate together and use the preferential policy you mentioned to expand their market share in the market, like in the Gulf countries and other regions. And also there's another issue that Pakistan should further improve its business environment and to compete in the international market. For example, like in the Central Asia and also Southeast Asia, they are also attracting Chinese companies to have a relocation or kind of more investment there.
So nice of you, and thank you very much, Zamir, for your presence here in the studios. Viewers, as you have just listened to our panelists, and that the upgraded version of the CPAC is all about the infrastructure development, industrial development and agriculture development in Pakistan, and the security is paramount to CPAC, and that's why both the countries are committed to it. The framework of the industrial cooperation, both countries are very much eager to implement it, and also it is important to have the digital and information technology development in Pakistan, and China is eager to help Pakistan on that aspect as well. People-to-people contact are the priority, and Pakistan is working closely with China on that aspect. Special economic zones, these are very paramount, very important, very vital, and that's why China is eager to invest in those zones as well. So Chinese manufacturing companies are eager to invest here in Pakistan. The road shows are actually needed in China to convince all those investors who intend to invest here in Pakistan. Mainline 1 railway project is now on not only on papers, but practically it is going to be implemented. Now Pakistan and China are going to implement this project because it is going to discuss in upcoming GCC as well, and the Prime Minister of Pakistan during his visit to China soon, that is going to be signed as well in China. So lots of other projects in the MOUs are going to be at the table between Pakistan and China. So we hope that Pakistan-China economic cooperation is going to bring lots of fruits, not only for Pakistan but also for the whole region. This is from today's Foresight. It's time to sign off. Allah Hafiz.